Hi, this is Dean Brown, designer of Spruance Leader from DVG, and I'm going to do a playthrough video of Spruance Leader Submarine expansion. So I really like this expansion. It's a lot of fun. It reminds me back of the Micropose Red Storm Rising game that I used to play on my Commodore 64. So that was the inspiration for this. So I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm just going to go through the rulebook section. So we're in section 15 of the SSN expansion rulebook. Basically campaign setup. So first step is to select which SSN campaign to play. I chose Protect the Atlantic. This one's a little bit different than some of the other campaigns. So that's why I decided to do this one. The other campaigns, you draw a target card, then you navigate to that target, going through various random encounters until you get to the target, destroy the target, you get your points, head back to base, replenish. This one is more of a patrol campaign where you're basically hanging out in the Norwegian Sea, and you're just intercepting any Soviet task forces or submarines that are trying to sneak through the Greenland, Iceland, UK gap there. So we're going to stay out on patrol as long as we can. We're going to be gathering stress. We might be collecting damage, but we want to stay out and take on as many targets as we can before we return to port. So this campaign has two different lengths, short and medium. So the short campaign, which I'll pick that to use as my SO point, you go on two patrols. So you go here, draw target cards until you're ready to stop or your sub gets destroyed. Then you return to port, eliminate all your stress, repair all of your damage, and then start off with another 35 mission points, load up your ordnance, and head out on patrol again. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm doing a short campaign. So we only need one SSN for this, and one SSN commander. And we start off with 80 special option points, which is a lot. And then our skill average, slide this up here, for this campaign, so both our SSN and our commander are going to be at the average skill level. And as we're destroying targets, our VP getting XP, I'm hoping that our sub and commander are going to level up, into skilled and veteran, and maybe even warrior, depending on the length of your campaign. All right, so I have my 80 SO points. Let's see what I got. All right, we'll just circle back and follow the sequence that's in the core rulebook, since that's going to be providing most of the guidance here, and then we'll use the SSN rulebook for exceptions or where there's new expansion unique rules. So the first thing we want to do is set up our target deck. You can see on here the numbers correspond to the target numbers that are appropriate for this campaign. So I went into my target deck and I pulled out all of the targets that are listed there. And I shuffle that. We are going to be using our enemy sub and enemy ship cards. I think most of the targets identify specific ships and submarines, so we won't be randomly selecting the cards too much. I'll just be going through and finding the appropriate type based on the target card. We're not going to be using the encounter cards, so I have them here just to have them there. So I do have my target deck. We are going to be using the sub sensor performance cards, so these are going to be fun. So these are required for the submarine game. There is a set for the core game, that are optional, so you don't have to use them. And then of course we have our trusty event card deck that we are going to use. A couple of draw cups. So we do want to still set up our damage cup and our enemy sub cup. Some of the targets don't identify specific subs, so we would draw from here. We aren't going to be using the task force draw cup. We're only going to have one sub, so we won't need to set that up. Okay, our next step is to purchase our sub and any skills or equipment. So I decided to go with the USS San Juan. We are in an Atlantic campaign, so this is an Atlantic sub. It's Los Angeles class improved, 48 SO points. The sub and the commander, based on the campaign sheet, are both average. So this one's average, and my commander, Zacharias, which I selected as average. So can fire T-lambs. Don't require them. All the targets that we're using are sea targets. Mines, I don't need those either. We're not laying mines. So cool 0 and skill level 2, which means that I can have up to 2 commander skills for my average sub here. So I can handle up to 7 stress, noise management of 2, torpedo defense of 1, and I can suffer 2 hull hits before my sub is destroyed. And I selected Zacharias. There was a lot of Wolfpack targets in the target list, so I selected the sub focus. So I can so Zacharias does have a sub detect +1 action, specialized action, so I can use a commander action for that. So he does have 1 fast action and 2 slow actions. So 3 actions for my commander here, and then I get 1 action for my sub. And then in the general actions, move my sub, similar to the core game. Change my depth. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I can give an action to the sub, my 1 sub. In the core game, that's limited to 1 action to give to a ship. But here, since I have only 1 sub, and I'm going to be facing a lot of enemy ships and subs, I can give up to all 3 of my commander actions to the sub. And then I can use a guided torpedo, and we'll talk about that. So I can use a commander skill to fire a guided torpedo instead of an unguided torpedo. So this has better hit ranges. All right, so I can have 2 skills. So I selected 2, one for my sonar operator, sub detect +1, and then 1 for my first officer, harpoon attack +2. So I'm going to be facing ships, so I do want to be able to have an advantage when I'm firing my harpoons at them. So I'm going to put those back on here. First officer, and they cost SO points, so that was 8 for the sub detect and 6 for the harpoon attack. And then I purchased 2 noisemaker and a total ray decoy, so I can use these to. Total ray decoy can attempt to lure a torpedo away. So this is when I deploy this on a 6+. Torpedo doesn't hit my sub, costs 4 SO points, and then a noisemaker. Again, this is I use it once and then it's gone. I can get a torpedo defense of +1 when I'm being attacked by an enemy torpedo. And then I have a bunch of sub actions, which we'll talk about as we go through the playthrough. So this is the Los Angeles class improved sub mat. Not required. It basically just organizes all the counters. The Allied subs don't have one of these, but it just lets me organize it. So you can see A couple other things for my sub. So torpedo, I have 4 tubes here, which have to be loaded in order to, I have to have ordnance loaded in there in order to fire my ordnance. Weapon storage, so I have 25 maximum of missiles and torpedoes that I can store in my sub, and then I do have a VLS that can hold TLAMs, Tomahawk land attack missiles, but again I'm not using those on here. So then so this would hold my ordnance counters, my TLAM missiles, any damage that I've taken, and total array depth, and then my current stress level. And then I filled out my task force log with my campaign, starting SO points, mission points, and then my commander and sub that I've selected. For most of the campaigns, the sequence would be to select the target, then purchase your ordnance. But for this one, since we're doing a sub patrol, we're going to purchase our ordnance using our 35 SO points for the mission that are available. So let's go do that. So I can't have a maximum of 25 individual ordnance. So I did select some harpoon missiles, range of 4, 2 to 4, and that's my to hit number there. I have 6 of those. I did buy 4 of the Tomahawk missiles. They have a range of 6, which means I can fire them at ships, out at range 5 and 6. I also have these, along with the harpoons, also have a search mode, so they don't have to be detected. And they can cause 2 hits of damage versus the harpoon, which can only do 1. The only concern is my skill is harpoon +2, so I don't get that +2 bonus when I'm firing my Tomahawks. And then I have 15 torpedoes that I can fire either unguided. Here you can see it has a range of 2, so I have to be very close in order to use my torpedoes. So unguided 6-8. If I use a commander action, and mentioned that guided torpedo was one of the actions. If I use a commander action when the sub is firing, then I can fire on this guided side, still range 2, but my hit numbers here now are 4-7 versus 6-8. So ideally you would fire all your torpedoes with as guided, but you don't always have a commander action laying around in order to do that, and I can fire up to 2 torpedoes with that 1 guided torpedo action, so it's not on a per torpedo basis. So that's my ordnance. And now let's go on and draw our target. Okay, so I'm going to draw from my target deck. Remember, I'm on patrol now. So I draw target 14, enemy ASW forces, a Slava 2 Utaloy, Victor 2 sub, worth 6 victory points. So I have to destroy all surface ships in order to earn that. I do have the option of drawing another target. So let's see, I draw 2. Neither one of these are red on the campaign sheet, so they don't have to be attacked. So targets 11 and 24 are red, and I didn't draw 11 or 24, so I can choose which target I want to go after, and then I could shuffle the other one back in the deck. This one has 5 subs, victory points 7. I have to destroy all of them. I don't need to worry about this because just the nature of the campaign, we're on one long patrol, so I don't have SO points per mission. So I get to choose which one I want to go after. So let's go after the enemy ASW. It has the 3 ships and then the one sub. So I'm going to go into my enemy sub card deck and my enemy ship deck and find my find a Slava, 2 Utilize, and a Victor 2 to use. Okay, so these are the 4 cards that I have for the target. So my 2 Utilize, my Slava, and my Victor 2. So these are, you know, same as the normal core game. They're going to be using the middle sub-column here since, you know, I'm going to be in a submarine. One interesting thing, and this is on all 3 ship cards, is there's a helicopter and then a launch value. So it says what, launch 8+. So the KA-25 helicopter for my 2 Utilize, and then KA-27 helicopter for my Slava. Let's look at those helicopter counters here. So we're going to be using the sub-detect and the sub-attack values on these. So if a helicopter is launched from one of the ships, and we're going to do that on every one of their turns, then helicopter is going to attempt to detect our sub. Hold on, let me grab the 25 here. Attempt to detect our sub, and if it detects it, then it's going to attack it, and these would be the 2 attack numbers for that. So yeah, that's one of the things we have to worry about in the SSN expansion, or helicopters. And lucky us, we have 3 ships that have helicopters, so we have the potential of having 3 helicopters launch each turn. Okay, place the ships and the subs per the normal range azimuth placement process, factoring in the placement modifiers on each of the cards. So I have enemy ship here at range 4, one at range 5, one at range 6, and then my enemy sub ended up way out here at range 6. However, this one has a movement modifier of +2, so it could very quickly slide in here and get close to our sub. So that's where we're at with ship placement. Okay, now we are going to set up our task force deployment. So our sub deployment. So first thing we're going to do is draw a sub sensor performance card. So you can see here, this is the environment that we're going to be operating in for this tactical encounter. So there is a thermal layer, and it has a modifier of -3. So basically what that does is it blocks signals from going up and back. So the detection, if my sub sensor, towed array, or spherical sensor hull is above the thermal layer and we're trying to detect a sub below the thermal layer, then there would be a -3 modifier for that detection. And then there are detection ranges here. So if my sub and enemy sub is above the thermal layer, I would use these numbers for my detection modifier based on my environment. And I can attempt detection all the way out to range 6. If my sub or my towed array is below the thermal layer and the sub is below the thermal layer, then these are the modifiers that I would use for that based on the range. And again, I can go all the way out to 6. Alright, so we have our 1 sub, Victor 2, so let's roll to see if it's above or below. So 1 to 6 above, 7 to 10 below, but because it is an SSN, there is a +3 modifier, and I rolled a 6. +3 is 9, so it's going to be deep. So I'm going to place a deep counter on there. Alright, a couple more decisions. One is I have to decide whether I want my sub to be fast or slow. If it's fast, I suffer 2 stress for this encounter, which isn't good since I'm on a long-range patrol. And my sub can suffer up to, or have up to 7 stress to stay in the OK range. But I get a detection +1, which is going to be important. You know, detecting the ships and subs so I can attack them. If I am slow, which means my actions are after the ships, my sub action, then I get stress +1, but my noise modifier is also +1, so it's +2 now. So I would get a +1 noise modifier to be 3, so that would make it harder for the enemy ships and subs and helicopters to detect my sub. So I'm going to keep it here on slow. And then I have to decide what depth I want to be at. Above the layer, below the layer. I have to be above the layer to fire my harpoon missiles and my tomahawk missiles. Yeah. So I'm going to go above the layer. The enemy sub is out at range 6, so I'm going to focus on seeing if I could take out a few ships before the enemy sub becomes a problem. And my towed array, I'm going to keep that above the layer. I could put this here as a spot on the sub mat, but I'm just going to put it here as a reminder that my towed array is going to be above. What that means is I have 2 detection methods for ships and subs, my towed array or my spherical array. If my towed array is above the thermal layer and I'm trying to detect my Victor 2, which is below it, I still have to apply this -3 modifier. If the towed array is below, then I don't apply that -3 modifier unless I'm trying to detect subs or ships above the thermal layer. So I have the spherical array, which is attached to my sub, so it's going to be available at whatever level that I'm at. And then the towed array I can have at the same level or on the other side of the thermal layer. But because they're both above, for all the ships, I can use my towed array detection values. Okay, I'm going to place my battle turn counter on 5. Start there, and then the next thing is to draw an event card. We're looking at the top at the beginning. So, carrier support. Attack an enemy ship at range 5 or 6 with 2 missiles. Well, that's handy. I just so happen to have enemy ships at range 5 or 6, 5 and 6. So these 2 are my Utiloi. This one is the Slava. This one's a little bit more dangerous. It has the KA-27 helicopter, which has a little bit better detection and attack values. So let's I'm firing 2 missiles. So let's roll twice. And I roll 2 and a 4. I mean, the Slava has a missile defense value of 2, so I would have subtracted that. So, yeah. Alright, that was a good try, but no dice. Okay. Alright, and the last thing I want to do before I start my tactical encounter is to load up my torpedo tubes. So I could do this without an action. So I'm going to load up. Let's load up one. So I'm going to have to do multiple targets. So let's just do one of the Tomahawk. 2 harpoons. And then let's have 1 torpedo in there just in case that sub charges forward. Alright, so our torpedo tubes are filled. We're now ready to start our engagement sequence. So we'll never do step 1 because we don't have helicopters in the SSN expansion, so we can always skip that one. Step 2, perform fast task force actions. Alright. So, I have one fast commander action that I can use. I have two ships here. Well, I can fire my Tomahawk missile at either these two ships or these two, because I can, in search mode, so I could do two azimuth sectors. I have one fast action. I think I'm going to wait and defer my commander action, because if I launch my missile, then I apply this modifier, so my noise management drops down to, and a helo gets a +2 modifier. So I'm going to defer, and so I'm going to keep my 4 actions for after the ship and sub turns. Alright, so the next step is to move the ships and subs. All the ships have a +2 movement modifier. Actually, everybody has a +2 movement modifier. So I'm going to add 2 to all movement rolls. So ship 2, 3, 5 is patrol. Ship 1, 8, 10 is range -1 and ping. Oh, that's handy. Sub 5, 6, 7, flank or range -1. So he's going to flank. If you give him the choice, oops, sorry, he's here. Oh, he can't flank. So he's going to go range -1. And then ship 3, 8, 9, 10. Ship 3 is move and pinging. Alright, so my Slava is pinged too. Alright, so now they're going to go through our detection checks. So our Utiloi 5-8, range 1 to 5. I do have noise management of 2, and then I'm in my slow slot here, so I have a +1, so I have a 3 noise management, so subtract 3 from the die. 10, 10, 9, 8, 7. So it did detect my sub. So we're going to take one of these sub counters. It's detected at level 1. So because it's level 1, it won't attack. If it was level 2 or higher, it could attack, but my sub is out of weapons range anyway. So, alright, enemy ship 1 is pinging. Active sonar is only range 1. So he's not going to detect me. This ship is pinging, range 1. So he's not going to detect. So now we have the sub. Now we use our card here. He's deep. I'm not. So -3 modifier. 8, 7, 6, 5. So not detected. Okay, so that is the turns for the enemy subs and ships. Now I perform my slow actions. So I have 4 because I didn't use my fast one. So let us, we have our Tomahawk. Slava needs 2 hits. This is a unique opportunity because it's pinging, and we take those away when it's the ship turn again. So let's attempt to detect the Slava. It's at -1 range. Has a 0 noise management modifier. My detect number for the ship is 5-9, out to range 6. And my ship skill is 0. So -1 modifier. 3. So that's, oh, I forgot about this. So -1, so that's +2. So that is 5. Which means I detected it. Alright. Range 1. Or level 1. So that's 1 action. I still have 3 more. Alright, so let's fire a tomahawk. So this isn't a harpoon attack, so I don't get the +2 modifier. The ship is at range 5. So I have a -1 modifier there. Slava has a missile defense of 2. I have a detect +1. So it is a -2 roll. Alright, let's see what we do. Oh wow! 10. It's modified to 8, which means we get 2 hits. Wow, that was an awesome roll. So we've destroyed the Slava. So take that out. And that costs 1 missile. So nice. Alright, still have 2 actions. I have 2 harpoons and a torpedo in my tubes. This one's pinging. This one has us detected. If it moves into range 3, it can't attack. So it has a noise modifier of 1. It says a noise modifier of 1. You know what I did not do is roll for helicopters. Of course, I always forget that. Let's do that real quick. 5, nope. 4, nope. I'll roll for the Slava. 4, nope. Okay. No helicopter attacks. Okay. So 3 actions left. Let's try to detect our Utiloi. Hope the other one doesn't come after us. So it's a range 4. Noise modifier here is -3. It has a +1, so that's -2. And my skill level is 0. So I get a +2 modifier. My total ray is above the layer, so I'm using my total ray. 2, 3, 4. Nope. So it's another action down. Let's try again. Another action down. We gotta try one more time. Oh man. So all my actions gone. Okay. Alright. So slow actions are done. By the way, I did add my missile modifier here. Decrease detection levels. So this gets down to 0, which is probably good. Decrease battle turn counter. And don't want to end the engagement, so I'm going to continue on to the next turn. So I'm back to 1 fast action, 3 slow actions. I'm thinking to defer it again, but let's just use it to try to detect this ship with a ping on it, because it's going away at the end of my fast actions. I gotta get another die. Alright, so that one's gone. Alright, let's see if I can remember to do that. So let's do the movement rolls. +2, so that's a 10. So it's a range -1 and pinging. I love those pings. It's not going to detect me, but it is within weapons range. Ship 1, 8, 10, so it's doing the same thing. I would have taken this away, but it is still pinging. Now I'm getting the high rolls, of course. 7, 9. So this one is flank or range 1, so we're going to flank. So these two are pinging, so they're not going to detect me. Again, it only has a range 1, but this one is within weapons range. It has to be detected. So it is going to fire a missile. 5-9 to hit. I have, well, I guess it's a missile that turns into a torpedo. So I have a torpedo defense of 1. And yeah, so that is it. Roll a 9. Just down to an 8. So that's a hit. That didn't take long. Got my trusty little damage counter. And well, torpedo side, I guess. Stress +2 and a hull damage. That's not good. So apply my stress. And my hull hit. I can only take one more, and then I am sunk. Alright. The sub is deep. Can't attempt to detect me. I don't know if it can even do it. Detect on level 7. It's -3 from the thermal layer and -3 for my noise management. So yeah, -1. So no detection there. Okay. Now I have my 3 slow actions. Let me get a different die here. Try the dark green one. So I'm going to attempt to detect this ship here. Take it out. So detection modifiers. So noise management of 1, but it's pinging, so that's the noise management. So I get a +2 modifier for that. -0 for my skill, so a +2. So yeah, see, that was it. That was the die. So 5, 6, 7. I did detect it at level 1. That's one action. I have 2 harpoons in my tubes. Got to keep track of that. Alright. Let's see. If I fire that, I get a harpoon modifier +2 from my skill. Has a missile defense of 1. So I get a +1 modifier. He's hit on a 4. So I have, what, an 80% chance to roll 3 or higher. Just trying to decide whether I should fire 1 or 2. It only takes 1 hit to destroy it. So yeah, we'll use our new die here. So that was action, so that's our second slow action. Rolled a 2. which is a miss. Alright, use my last action to fire another harpoon. 9, okay, well that one got it. Destroy that one before it gets another shot at me. Sad I had to use 2 harpoons for that. It could have been nice to only use 1. Okay. Those were my 3 slow actions. I did not roll for the helicopter, did I? Jeez. It's not on my sequence. I think maybe I need to create a sequence of play for the SSN and stick it on my tactical display. Okay, so that was an 8, plus I had 2 because of my missile here, so that one's definitely launching. Ship 1, so that is the KA-25. Alright, so remember I have this still, so my noise modifier is -2, and I have 2 on my sub and then +1 for being slow, so I get a minus 1 modifier. So I rolled a 4, so that's not detected. And then let me roll for the other ship. I forgot about that. So that one launches a helicopter too. -1. Rolled a 2. So, okay, so we're good. Alright. Okay, that is the end of turn 2. Reduce contacts. Or detection levels, no detection levels. Reduce my battle turn counter. I'm at 3 now, so I have 3 more turns to go. Alright, next battle turn. Back to my fast action turns. So, do want to detect that before we lose the ping modifier. So I am going to roll 5-9 to detect. +2. So 6. So it is detected. At level 1. Okay. Now it's the enemy turn, so movement +2, 5, patrol, sub, 10, range -2, and pinging. So it's active sonar has a range of 2, so it's there, so it's not going to detect my sub, but you saw how it came flying in. Alright, so ship 1, detect 5-8. I still have my missile modifier, so that's -1, so 6-5, so to detect me at level 1. Alright, helicopter roll. Hey, I remembered. Okay, 25, 4, +2, 6, so no helicopter. Alright, I have 3 more actions. Do have this ship detected. It's at range 3. I have the sub here pinging at range 3. It is below the layer, I'm above the layer, so I'm kind of a little safe there. So let's try to take out the ship first. Looking at my torpedo tubes. I don't have any missiles, so I'm going to use one of my 3 actions to reload. I'm going to go with 2 torpedoes and 2 harpoons. Alright, 2 actions left. So +1 modifier here. This one has a +2 missile defense, so that'll be -1. It's on a 4, so I would have a 5 or higher to hit. Actually, I have a detect +1. Yeah, so -1. So I can use 1 action to fire 2. Let's do that. Just want to get this over with. And so there's a volley fire, so the second one gets a +1 modifier. So -1. Actually, I'm firing harpoon, so I have the +2 skill, so it's +1. Alright, let's fire both. 4-7, so there's a hit, and that takes care of that. Didn't want to use all of my ordnance, but alright, 1 action left. I am above the layer. I am going to have a fast action next turn. So let's use my last action there to go below the layer. My total ray is still above, which isn't good, but so that's my last slow action. Decrease levels. No one's detected anything. Decrease battle turns. I'm down to 2. Alright, so we're back up to my fast actions. I can attempt to detect, let's see, 6 or higher. I could pull my total ray down, but then I'm not sure if he's going to be pinging. So let's go with trying to use my spherical array. So 6 or higher. -1 sub. Oh, I have a skill, so sub detect +1. So 0 for that. Noise management of 2, but pinging. So I get a +1. It's probably the best I'm going to get. So 5 or higher. 8. Alright. So he is detected. Okay, that's my fast action. Now we move. Hopefully we get a low number this time. Don't want him to come crashing in. 5, 6, 7. Flank or range -1. So he's going to flank. Take the ping away. He's still deep. Detect is 7. And I have a noise modifier, I'll take that away, of 3, so that's to roll 10. Roll a 2, so no detection. Alright, no helicopter roll this time because I don't have any ships. Alright, so I have my 3 actions. So I have 2 torpedoes. I have 3 actions. I need 2 hits. So let's fire, let's use 2 actions. Oops. And we're going to fire torpedoes as guided. So I'll use one of my commander actions to make it guided. 1 action to fire my last 2 torpedoes. So I am at what, -1, +1 detect, and torpedo defense of 1, so -1. So I need 5 to hit, so I need 5 or 8, 6 and 4. So that is 1 hit. Alright. So let me put that damage counter here. That's disappointing. Could have been nice to end this now. 1 action left, so I guess I'm going to use that to load up my torpedo tubes. Now the good news is, for the target, I only had to sink the surface ships, so I am going to get my VPs. But I do want to try to get out of this unscathed. Alright. So that is the end of my slow actions. Decrease detection level. Down to 0 now. Still fire. Saw my battle turn counter down to 1. So this is my last shot. I have a fast action, so I can fire two torpedoes unguided. Be a -2, so I'd have to roll 8 or higher on one of my 2 dice roll to hit. Has a -2 attack because he's damaged, so alright, slide my total ray down. Use that action for that, so that next my slow actions I can detect them and then hopefully take them out. It does have a -1 torpedo defense there. Alright, so movement 7, flank or range 1, -1. So he can't flank. So remember, if he attacks, he has the sub attack +2, but first he has to detect us. So +1 detection here, 3 for my noise management, so that's -2, and 0's here. So I need 7, 9, 8, 7. Okay, he did detect us, but only level 1. So that's fine. Alright, 3 slow actions. So I'm going to try to detect them. I do have my total ray down here now. Noise management of -1. Range +1. And I have a -1 for my skill. Oh, but I have a skill, right, my sonar skill of sub +1 detect, so that's 0. +1, and then -1, so 0. So straight up 5, 9, 6. So he's back up to detection level 1. Alright, I have 2 actions left. So I can use 1 action to fire my guided torpedo, which I guess I'm gonna... What's the modifiers here? +1, +2, -1 skill. So that's +1, and then one torpedo, -1 torpedo defense damage. So it's +1. Trying to save Ordnance. I have 2 actions. So I'd have to use both of them to fire this. Alright, I guess I'm going to use 2. I have to take them out. I actually don't have to. Still get the victory points. Alright. So this one's +1 for volley. 4, 5. Okay, so that I did get a hit. That one missed. Did get a hit there. It's already had 1 damage, so now he's sunk, so he's gone. Alright. That was the last battle turn. So that's the end of the encounter. I am going to draw an event card. Missile repair. So I don't have any missile damage. So that would go back. Then evaluate the counter. So I did sink 4 starred enemy units, 3 ships, 1 sub. I did sink the target, so I get 2 more experience points for that. Both my commander and my ship. So 2 here, 5, 6. So, woohoo! So I have 6 XP, I need 5 to advance. Oh, I do suffer, what, 1 stress, right? So this goes up to 3. Got 2 from battle, he has 1. But I am going to advance my ship from average, use 5 of my experience points to go to skilled. So now I have a +1 ship, 0 sub. Ooh, noise management of 3, that's going to be pretty good. Torpedo defense of 2. Still have 2 skills, so let's see if I go up to veteran, then I get 3 skills. So, alright, looking good. So that's the end of the encounter. You can see this is the ordnance that I had to use, which is a big chunk. So for the campaign I would draw another target card and then continue until I decide when to return to port. Then I would remove my stress and repair any damage. Alright, that's all I have for this sub playthrough. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, Facebook, Spruance Leader group page, or Board Game Geek Spruance Leader page. Thanks.